Hello and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are coming to you live from our studios here at Koko Mlemle in Accra. We're live on DSTV, channel 421, GoTV 125, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Caloni.
And I am Faustina. So for tonight, President John Dramani Mahama says he will only declare a state of emergency based on advice from the National Security Council as he puts Ghana's fight on illegal mining on top priority. More from today's engagement with civil society organizations as the Attorney General warns the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman faces arrest if he fails to report himself on Monday for his charges to be read.
Also, Northeast Police on a manhunt for the killers of immigration officer with another in critical condition at the Bintiri checkpoint. We are live in the community.
Also tonight, minority in Parliament rejects calls for Communications Minister to resign over the DSTV controversy, insisting the minister handled the arrangement better.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Joy News Prime. Let's begin from the presidency because the President, John Dramani Mahama, has indicated that he will declare a state of emergency in areas affected by illegal mining if the National Security Council advises him to do so. Now, speaking at a dialogue with civil society organizations at the Jubilee House, President Mahama emphasized that while the Constitution empowers him to take such a step, the decision would be guided by security and policy assessment. The president's stance comes amid growing pressure to address the escalating environmental and economic costs of galamsey, with civil society, religious leaders and environmental groups urging decisive action. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba reports.
Whether we are going to tolerate...
The forum brought together over 20 civil society organizations, many of them actively engaged in advocacy against illegal mining. The dialogue opened with the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakufibua, who gave an update on progress made in the fight against illegal mining. He revealed that comprehensive regulatory reforms are underway and 250 mining licenses will be revoked in the coming days. The coordinator of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, Colonel Dominic Boa, issued a clear warning to illegal miners, stating that security agencies are coming after them and will deal with them.
We'll continue to burn them in the water. The forest reserve, whatever equipment we cannot use, we will damage them, including excavators. We'll scatter them into pieces in situ. His Excellency, Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to send this warning to illegal miners, their assigns and financiers, that they are the first or prime enemies of the state, and they will be dealt with as such. There will be no room for them to escape or to hide. NIMOS will smoke them out very soon.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dominic Ayine, also announced that LI 2462, as amended by LI 2501, will commence in October 2025. He added that a new tribunal bill, which will create dedicated courts for mining offences, has already been submitted to Cabinet and is likely to be passed by Parliament when it resumes. He gave an update on some high-profile prosecutions.
And I'm happy to announce that in 2002, the police conducted very diligent investigations in respect of Akonta mining, but the docket was hidden until we came to power. In fact, when we came to power and I started the investigation with the the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and the Forestry Commission, we were finding it difficult to get information. Subsequently, the police themselves owned up and presented the docket to my office 2 months ago. So as we speak, the charges against Chairman Wuntumi, Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. Currently, we are waiting for him to be read his right to remain silent, etc. Before we've asked that he should be brought from, Kumasi. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday. But I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order for his arrest so that he'll be brought to Accra. His rights will be read to him, and then we can start the prosecution.
One of the most debated issues ahead of the meeting was the call by some CSOs for a state of emergency to be declared, but opinions were sharply divided. Here's Bishop Antonina Asari, Auxiliary Bishop of the Archdiocese of Accra.
We urge you, Your Excellency, to provide the following: clear benchmarks that will trigger a state of emergency, visible prosecution of kingpins, including those named in official reports, the establishment of promised fast-track courts.
But security expert Colonel retired Festus Abuaji disagrees with calls for a state of emergency over galamsey. GJA President Albert Jomfo is happy with progress made in the fight against illegal mining.
We, as part of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, have been calling for the state of emergency. But having heard and followed the presentation today, I'm tempted to believe that we are on the right path. It is a matter of having progressive engagement and also getting the media involved in telling the story.
President John Mahama says he will not hesitate to declare a state of emergency in areas affected by illegal mining if Ghana's National Security Council advises that it is necessary.
You know, yes, I have the power to do it, but the president acts on the authority, not only on the authority, on the advice of the National Security Council. And as at now, this moment, the National Security Council believes that we can win the fight against galamsey without a state of emergency. I want to assure you that the day they advise me otherwise, that, boss, now we need a state of emergency, I will not hesitate in declaring a state of emergency. But we do still think that we have the powers to be able to win this fight. And as we deploy more troops and we apply more resources to the fight, I'm sure that gradually we'll begin to see that we're winning the fight.
An executive of the Small-Scale Miners Association, Henry Ben Smith, also rejected calls for a state of emergency.
But if your son is not doing well and you are not teaching your son what the right way to go, and you say, I'll kill you. Who ever has killed his son because the son has gone to do something wrong to the father? You will not do that. If you're a father, you're not going to do that. You need to rather give room and educate the person and direct the person where you should go.
Let's broaden the conversation here on Joy News Prime and bring in Dr. Kojo Imprim. He is Program Director, Media for Peace and Social Cohesion Program at Media Foundation for West Africa. We appreciate your time. I also have joined the conversation Elikem Kotoko, is Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. I'll start with you, Mr. Kojo. I just wanted to get your initial assessment. You attended that meeting with CSOs. Based on your analysis and the presentation by key individuals in government, what's your thoughts about the fight against illegal mining? Are we winning it?
I was in the room today, and I would draw a balance sheet and say that we are still having made more progress. In the room, there was no consensus on a number of issues. One, for example, is the declaration of the state of emergency, while some have perspective that we don't need it now, others will be view that we need a state of emergency. The President clearly indicated to us that whenever he's advised by the Security Council, he would do so. But he also left us wondering when, in time, this state of emergency will be declared. And in the meantime, what should be the expectation of Ghanaians when it comes to the fight against illegal mining? Of course, my also assessment is that we see some progress being made, but that progress really needs to be timetabled with clear indication. I was expecting the Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources have presented to us the baseline information to go ahead and give a clear, specific timeline. If he says he wants to do reforms, the five-pronged approach of reformation, of land reclamation, of enforcement, blue water gardens, and accountability mechanism. He left us without any timelines. And really, all what we hear is that there will be a regular exercise as to when, from the present perspective, we are going to have the next encounter. Is something that we left in the room not being so clear in terms of when this is going to be institutionalized as a regular civil society Ghanaians information sharing on information. So on the whole, some of us left the room not too convinced about the commitment when it comes to political will in winning the fight.
It's interesting you mentioned that. You have questions indeed. The president told us today that though he possesses the power to declare a state of emergency, he can only do so based on advice from the national security. And the national security, according to him, advises him at this point in time that we can win the war without a declaration of a state of emergency. As a foundation, what's your thoughts on this?
You see, the president has been a president before. This is the second time he's been a president. He had been in that realm of affairs. And also the figure about 300 million illegal miners, this figure has been paddled around for several years, not only this current regime. And therefore, when NDC, before election 2024, had promised Ghanaians by their manifesto that they will win this fight hands down, they know what they were standing on. So it sounds a bit surprising to many Ghanaians that when they have assumed the reins of government, they are now burdened excuses that we can do this through a gradualist approach. Nobody expects the destruction to be won within a matter of months, but all what Ghanaians are expecting our dear president that, of course, he has said he has no interest, and I hear this interest, I define it as a personal interest, but also know that a political interest in this galamsey. The publication by the Fourth Estate in recent months has exposed some kingpins within the party that are undergoing illegal mining. We're expecting the president to say if he has no interest in this illegal mining, then the speed of justice should move quite faster in really prosecuting political kingpins who are involved, both current regime and past regime, which seem to be rather dealing with the lesser fish in this whole menace, the small boys who are on the field. But behind the small boys is a huge architecture of party gurus, big party boys and girls, that we need that transparency when it comes to data. Who and who are really involved? We are expecting that by now, that data to be public for us to understand who are both involved in this illegal mining.
Well, the Attorney General today told us that they're working on a number of dockets. He mentions more than 60, where they'll be prosecuting individuals involved in illegal mining. But let me bring in Elikem at this point in time. He's Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. Just today we heard from the Lands Minister, as well as key individuals, state some of the key things they've done to reclaim our forest reserves. Tell us more about these efforts and how you ensure to sustain the gains.
Thank you so much. And first and foremost, may I dispel what my brother said, that it's his opinion though, but I am glad that even if he says consensus was not built, the general feeling in the room there today was that President Mahama and his government has shown commitment and political will to fight this canker. And just as I'm sure that everybody is calling, some of the people are calling out that there must be a state of emergency declared. The question is that the president has answered that not only once or twice, but on a few occasions, that he has not been advised so yet by the national security. And secondly, to those who are asking for the state of emergency to be declared, declare a state of emergency, and then what next? Not a single one of them have even outlined A, B, C, D to be done upon the declaration of a state of emergency. We are not ruling out the fact that something is going amiss, but the president, who happens to be the number one, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is saying that I will be ready to do so if need be. However, measures that I have put in place convinces me that there is no need for that yet, and that has been corroborated by the national security. May I outline some few things that has been done for you? Right from assumption of office, he called for the cessation to the issuance of new licenses. 9 forest reserves that were actually red zones were repossessed. As we speak, the minister has declared water bodies and forest reserves security zones, which means that we will be deploying, or we are deploying, already deploying, our men and women in uniform to these places permanently to protect those places.
And then,
LI-2462, we are also told, is going to be
repealed as well. Yeah, but Elikem, at this point in time, we want to know how you plan to sustain the gains, especially because you sit at the helm of affairs at the Forestry Commission. We want to be sure that these forest reserves that have been reclaimed do not go back into the hands of illegal miners. So we're wondering, what's the strategy?
And that is what I'm outlining. I mean, if we are declaring these areas as security zones, what it means is that we are deploying men and women in uniform, as Colonel Dominic Boa said as well. We are deploying these men and women there to be permanently stationed there to build their base or camps over there, and on rotational basis to make sure that we deter and prevent as well as arrest any other person found culpable in trying to get to these forest reserves or water bodies. And so it is clear enough that this is a government that is ready to fight this canker. And just as Michael will be aware, when we were taken through what the situation was as of when this regime took over, it was a very dire situation. President Mahama has shown the commitment, the political will, and has given outlines of what steps he's taking and what steps will be taken in the future. Like I have told you, the 9 forest zones that have been repossessed, I won't call it an achievement, but it's a significant milestone. No new licenses are being issued as well, and that is to allow us to make sure that we don't aggravate the situation. Then a place has been declared security zone. NIMOS has been set up and headed by its director, Colonel Boa, and they are doing a very marvelous job so far. Attorney General has also given the assurances that he will make sure that they kick in motion even the specialized district courts, amongst other things, to speed up the processes of ensuring that these environmental terrorists, or whatever you want to call them, are deterred and from the activities that they engage in. And the talk about the kingpins, I would have been happy to hear my brother mention 1 or 2 kingpins he knows personally, so that he will say that the person has been mentioned is a kingpin and has not been gone after. Let me put on record that the Forestry Commission, the NIMOS and the ministry itself is doing everything possible to go after these people. But you know the myth surrounding gold, where they say that gold is a spirit and all of that. Many of the small boys involved in the exercise and
point noted.
Blood covenant, etc. Some of these people are being surveilled now in order for us to be able to monitor them over time.
Point noted. Thank you so much. At this point, we have to move on. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime.
Well, still on illegal mining, Joy News has uncovered unprecedented pollution of the Bisi and Subri rivers, tributaries of the Tano River, despite denials from Chief Executive of Tano North Municipality, Pius Opoko, after an earlier expose on illegal mining in the farming community of Adroba, Bisi. The MCA led local chiefs upstream, insisting the waters were untouched, but new footage reveals Chinese miners and their Ghanaian collaborators actively contaminating the rivers, threatening the once pristine waters. So my colleague and environmental journalist Erastus Asare-Donko has been given details on Joy News Desk.
Go there, you will see that the Chinese nationals and their Ghanaian collaborators are mining along the river Bisi. And the river itself, downstream, is highly polluted. And that is visible to everybody. And when you speak with the farmers who are not getting water to water their crops, they will tell you how it's affecting them. And so it is very disingenuous for the MCD, who is head of the Municipal Security Council, to go there knowing very well that that place indeed has illegal mining going on and is affecting farming activities. We'll go there and disinform the people and disinform the public as well, with the intention to take attention from the illegality that is going on. And that is what we found so far. And I think that the president must take a decisive action on what he did.
Still on illegal mining, some small-scale miners are reclaiming their concessions as the government cracks down on those abandoning deadly pits. This move comes after a string of tragic incidents, including the recent collapse of a galamsey pit at Kasutie at the Echimampunia district in the Ashanti region, which claimed 9 lives and left several injured. Naya Ojima has more in the following report.
Mining pits opened by illegal miners are scattered in many communities across the country. On Thursday, 12 people were retrieved from a mining pit at Kasutie after the pit collapsed on them, with 7 declared dead. Between April and September 2025, 4 people died in a desperate search for gold in abandoned pits. In parts of the country, there are reports of children drowning in illegal mining pits. The Minerals Development Fund, as part of its mandate, is expected to provide funds to redress the harmful effects of mining on affected communities and persons. The Chief Executive Officer of the fund, Dr. Hannah Bisiu-Kotei, in an earlier interview indicated readiness to lead reclamation efforts.
So whoever did it, you pay, simple. And after that, the law deals with you. When you pay us, the law deals with you. That one is between you, between the Attorney General, between the security, between everybody else. But for Mineral Development Fund, you owe us. We took you in.
At Abompe in the Ashanti region, some farmers have lost their lands to small-scale mining, and most of the pits are left abandoned. Aside from the risk to lives and properties, families who depended on the lands for survival go hungry. But before the government's enforcement team goes after miners who abandon the pits, some of them are willingly reclaiming the lands. Michael Osei of Osei Michael 79 Enterprise has led reclamation of 40 acres of land mined by the company.
The government is against leaving pits opened after mining, so as a responsible miner, I had to adhere to it.
Bandim Anane, until a few years ago, farmed vegetables on the reclaimed land. Today, he has returned to have a look at the reclaimed mine land in anticipation of a return.
Some miners have started taking away their excavators after mining. You can't confront them because you didn't give them the land. I plead with the government to ensure that all these people cover the pits.
For many, this is the first time they are seeing such a massive reclamation exercise within Abompe community. Most of the residents are excited about the development. Their hope is that all miners who use this area are able to reclaim these lands so that most of the farmers who used to work in here can return for their daily bread. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Abompe, in the Echimampunia district of the Ashanti region.
Well, police in the northeast region have launched a manhunt after gunmen attacked a Ghana Immigration Service checkpoint at Bintri in the East Mamprose municipality, killing 1 officer and leaving another critically injured. The assault happened in the early hours of Friday, October 3. Police say the attackers fled with a motorbike and bags belonging to the officers. Northeast Regional Police Public Relations Officer ASP Robert Anabik has been given some details about the incident.
Caution. There's now people who are making circulating rumors as to the circumstances surrounding this attack to put a stop to that. We have no information as to whether the attack has been instigated by any other person linking to drug trade or any conflict within the region. We urge the public to do away with that, those rumors going around. We sympathize with the Immigration Service and we convey our condolences to them, wishing that the injured person will fully recover and give us more information about what happened so that we can properly investigate and get the perpetrators arrested.
He's regional correspondent. He joins us on Zoom for some more. Elias, how are residents in the community actually reacting to this deadly attack?
Well, there's a shock in the entire Gbintiri community as we speak. Of course, recently there have been heightened insecurity in that part of the area. So residents are very, very shocked. And they are asking the security services to intensify security in that particular area.
And what security concerns are residents themselves raising now, especially those living close to the border?
Well, they are talking about the rampant robbery attacks. Before this incident, as we are learning a week ago, there was an accident, a robbery attack in that particular area that led to some deaths. And there have also been robbery along the route towards Nakanduri. And so the concern has been that there have been a spate of robbery that has been occurring, and for which reason they are calling for intensified security in the Gbintiri area.
Any arrests so far?
Not yet. As we are learning from the security forces, you heard the police bureau talking about the fact that their investigation hasn't revealed anything substantial yet. And so the rumor has been that this attack was caused by drug traffickers. Mind you, around 17th and 18th September of last month, the police broke up a drug trafficking syndicate, arresting 6 persons and confiscating about 2,000 boxes of opium drugs. And so when this incident happened, there were rumors around that this attack could have been caused by drug traffickers. There were also rumors that this attack was linked to what has been happening in the Boko area. But as you heard, ASP Robert Anebik dispelling this rumor, saying that they are still investigating and that people should stop spreading these particular rumors.
We understand one of the immigration officers is currently on admission. What is his condition as we speak?
He's severely wounded. Prayers up for him. As we understand, he was shot in the face and then in the back. We understand one of the bullets even pierced through his back. And so as we speak, he's in critical condition. He was first sent to the Gbintiri Health Center, then to the Nalerugu Baptist Medical Center, and then to Wale Wale, as we understand. And now there are preparations to take him to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, highlighting the seriousness nature of his wounds. And so he's currently in a very desperate condition.
Elias Utanko, thank you so much for those details. And you're still watching Join News Prime. With us here, Carlos Kaloni
and Faustina Safa. When we return, we'll take you to Parliament and tell you about the latest push by the majority. They are backing the Communications Minister. Please stay for details.
Welcome back.
To other stories now. The Majority Caucus on the Communications and Information Committee has rejected calls for the Communications Minister Sam Nate-George to resign or be dismissed by President John Dramani Mahama over the DSTV subscription prices impasse. Addressing the media in Parliament, Member of Parliament and a member of the committee, Sulemana Adama, said the caucus maintains that allegations of irregularities by the minority in the minister's handling of the arrangements surrounding the matter are baseless, insisting there is no absolute justification for his removal.
As members of the Majority Caucus of the Communications Committee, we recognize the minority's concerns. We, however, emphatically disagree with their position and their call for the removal of the minister responsible for communication. This is premised on the fact that the goal of protecting Ghanaian consumers must always be the driving force behind parliamentary activities. In their statement, Honorable Oreku sought to create the impression that there are serious irregularities with the arrangement the minister reached with MultiChoice. The majority wishes to place on record that these assertions are wholly unfounded and do not reflect the facts on the ground. There is nothing irregular about the minister's engagement with MultiChoice, and there is absolutely no justification for the call on the minister to resign. The minister has acted within his mandate and continues to provide the needed leadership to stabilize and guide the sector. The criticism of the deputy ranking member offers a chance to thoroughly examine the state and progress of Ghana's communication sector, especially given the legacy issues inherited from the previous NPP government, led by Mrs. Esla Owusu.
He further stated that the Communications and Information Committee has invited the management of DSTV and are expected to appear before the committee next week.
Parliament are not micromanagers. We don't just jump into activities of the ministries, departments, and agencies. We allow them to play out. It is only when we see that there was a need, deadlock, that's when you come in. In the initial stages, we got in touch with the ministry. They stated their position. The committee also got in touch with MultiChoice. A meeting was actually slated to be held. And then something else cropped up. The minister gave us assurances that they will come back to us. Then they reached an agreement. We were sure the agreement was an agreement between the two sides because in the particular meeting that announced this bouquet, MultiChoice and Co were there. So parliamentary committees are not managers of the agencies. We offer oversight, and we think that is the right time to offer that oversight. Then, yes, we are in agreement with the reductions being sought by the minister, and that we believe that it's value for money, so we support the reduction. We envisage that early next week, this meeting should come on between the ministry, the committee, and MultiChoice. Remember, it's not just about safeguarding the interest of consumers. We also need to safeguard the interest of businesses doing business in Ghana, and it's the reason why it's critical.
Away from Parliament, over 400,000 adolescent girls in the Ashanti region will be vaccinated against cervical cancer as part of a nationwide campaign targeting 2.4 million girls. The campaign follows two successful pilot programs conducted between 2013 and 2018. Ohimi Tewia has more in the following report.
The Ghana Health Service says the burden of cervical cancer is on the increase in Ghana. Experts say its elimination is feasible with high uptake of the HPV vaccine. At least 400,000 adolescent girls aged between 9 and 14 are scheduled to be vaccinated in the Ashanti region as a nationwide campaign targets 2.4 million girls. This is the first time Ghana is rolling out a nationwide HPV vaccination exercise after two successful piloted campaigns between 2013 and 2018 covering 14 districts. Ashanti Regional Health Director Dr. Fred Atomako-Boateng told a media launch that HPV vaccination will give beneficiaries a head start towards a healthier cervical cancer-free adulthood.
It's so difficult when people are not sick and you tell them to come for vaccines. And moreover, people tend to get the disease in about later age of life, about 30 years, 25 years. So it's important that we communicate this to people for them to see the importance that, look, the vaccine is the most important way to preventing cervical cancer. Globally, you look almost about 604,000 new cases of cervical cancer. And out of this number, about 340 of them die. And 84% of this happening in the lower and then middle income countries, which we fall in that. And what is preventing the developed countries from getting a lot of cervical cancer cases? It's because of the vaccines. And so if we are talking about eliminating cervical cancer, then the vaccine is the cheap and our best bet for the country.
While calling for support from all stakeholders to help facilitate vaccination exercise in schools, he wants them to serve as champions to dispel myths and rumors surrounding the vaccination.
If you look at Ashanti region, if you look at our projection, we are looking roughly at almost 400,000 for us to vaccinate them. And you see that the nature of this vaccination is quite different from the others, especially most of them are going to be in school. It's important that the chief imams, the reverend fathers, the apostles, the teachers, parents, more especially the media, that we hammer on this.
A combination of in-school and out-school strategies will be used to ensure no eligible girl is left out. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oyemi Interior reporting.
Government is being urged to fix rural roads under the Big Push agenda to help farmers get produce to markets. Poor access routes and limited extension services are stifling agribusiness growth. The call came from non-governmental organization SMV2 Scale Ghana. Its country director, Jalil Zakaria, spoke at the company's 10-year closeout and hangover to the Ghana Enterprise Agency with support from the Netherlands Ghana government. There's more in the following report.
Over a decade, the two-scale program has advanced inclusive agribusiness in Africa, helping MSMEs and producer groups build scalable models. Funded by the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the program showed the impact of public-private partnerships, improving farmers, traders, and consumers' access to market, finance input, and knowledge, strengthening Ghana's agricultural sector. Key results includes tens of thousands now access affordable food, over 100,000 farmers gain better input and market, 50-plus SMEs drive value chains, and 2,000 micro-enterprises benefit. At the closeout session and handing over to the Ghana Enterprise Agency, Dr. Rens Twistra of the Netherlands Embassy urged resilience as donor funding ends.
But the challenge is always how sustainable are things really after donor funding, comes to a close. Now it's really being put to the test. What is the impact, the longer term impact? And of course, like I said, this is not the ending of our funding in this space. There will be other programs that we'll continue to do. But I hope to see the business champions taking up their role, and models proving to be resilient also beyond, project cycles of donor funded initiatives.
The country director for Two Scale Ghana, Jalil Zakaria, said poor farm-to-market routes and few extension officers still block SME growth.
One of the key challenges we have been seeing is road networks. You have a situation where farmers are in a particular area with abundance of resource in terms of land, but accessing these farmers to be able to deliver extension services, for instance, is one of the key issues that we're grappling with. And to link it with government policy, for instance, the big push, for instance, should be targeting areas in rural Ghana where access routes can be created, make sure that farmers that are within those enclaves are able to reach markets more efficiently, because the cost of transaction as a result of bad roads is impacting on the income that farmers are making. Beyond that, extension services delivery is one of our key challenges. The farmer extension officer ratio is a very wide one. To what extent can Ghana begin to invest more in extension services delivery in the country?
The Executive Director of Social Enterprise Ghana, Edwin Kojo, added that over 20,000 SMEs remain committed to government initiatives.
For us as a business association, is always an opportunity for us to leverage on the existing platforms and engagements that we have. So from the Ghana apprenticeship program, this is for us opportunity for us to connect these inclusive MSMEs to apprentices of the young people for internship opportunities or job placement. Also is the Jumara project for us that is very inclusive. How do we work with government to ensure that the over 20,000 MSMEs that we have worked with also access these opportunities?
These MSMEs say they are ready to scale up and create more jobs for Ghanaians. Carlos Caloni, Joy News, Accra.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. When we return, we bring you showbiz. Please stay tuned in.